Hello everyone and welcome to this month's special construction update of the Metro D line. It'll be extending 9.1 miles across the west side of Los Angeles. So let's take a look at all that's new this month here on Tiger Rail Fan. Today we're starting at the Wilshire La Brea station and heading west throughout the rest of the video, finally ending up at the VA Medical Center station 9.1 miles down the line. So let's take a look here at our first stop of the day near the intersection of Wilshire Boulevard and La Brea. We're currently walking east along Wilshire Boulevard near the intersection of Wilshire and Cloverdale. This is going to be 1 block west of the station, and we can see that there is sidewalk construction still going on, and it has not reopened since last episode. And the median is still closed. It's most likely being used for vehicle storage, or it's still unsafe to open. But we can see the first part of the station over on the right hand side. There's a lot of activity happening over there, so we're going to get a good look over there. Prior to this video, we really only saw it as a construction storage site where they stored vehicles and construction supplies to be used on the entrance, which is located across the street right in front of us. Right ahead is the Metro Bus Route 20, which currently runs along Wilshire Boulevard. It also has a rapid counterpart, the Rapid 720, which is one of the busiest bus routes in North America. We'll get a look at one of those buses in just a second, but let's go ahead and cross the street towards the intersection of Wilshire and La Brea, which is just ahead. And I'm not sure about you guys, but I do hear a jackhammer running around in the distance, and it turns out they're drilling up a sidewalk over there, most likely to change it to be patterned with the station sidewalk on this side, which is going to receive a new sidewalk pattern just like the image here. Looking into the station entrance area, we can see that there's a crane located here, but it's not really doing anything. I would be worried if they were, since the stations are scheduled to open by the end of this year, so I expect Metro to be nearly done with construction and getting ready to test the trains. Heading east, we're going to see the station entrance right here, which has a new updated elevator. They have new signage just above it that showcase the station's name and the Metro line it serves. Most importantly, there's also 2 elevators, and that helps with redundancy significantly if one of the elevators is out or needs maintenance. We can see just ahead that there's a hole in the ground, which is what that crane may have been lowering things into. Anyways, just to our right hand side is the intersection of Wilshire and La Brea, so the station is located right here as it's named. And here's the station entrance itself. It's worth noting that the information signs inside the station are now on. Let's go ahead and get a closer look at that. Obviously, there will be no trains on the departure board just yet as they aren't testing yet, but you can see the elevators here have an awning over them, which is pretty nice. There's also a new streetlight right here in front of the station, and it's on, which signifies they have a working electrical circuit here, which is pretty awesome to see. You'll see that with the lights throughout the rest of the station too on the left-hand side. But let's take a quick moment and look at the density surrounding the station. Just like most of the D-Line stations, this stop has a huge amount of density surrounding it. I do wish Metro did something with the land that the station is on, but it's worth it anyways, as I'm sure there's going to be plenty of ridership for the buildings outside. And now here's a quick look at the station from the La Brea side. You can see that there are plenty of streetlights that are on, and it looks like they're all in good working order. And they're bright, which is a great feature to help deter any unusual activity. Now let's go ahead and take a closer look at the other side of the street, where we're able to see if there's any new activity on the other side of Wilshire Boulevard. But here's one last look at the station entrance, which is now displaying new information such as the LAX Metro Transit Center's opening on June 6, 2025. Make sure you like and subscribe to see more content about the LAX Metro Transit Center and other hot construction topics in the LA Metro area, such as the A-Line extension to Pomona. So stay tuned for a bunch of videos like that. Now let's get back to the video. In previous episodes, there really hasn't been any activity over on this side of the station, but we can see that there is excavation happening over inside the left-hand side as we turn in just a second, but it looks like they're currently digging into a hole and they've been taking dirt out, as they've been creating a pile of dirt just to the right of that original excavator. There's also new subway vents in place, and you're able to walk between the construction zone here, which is something new and different from last time. Let's go ahead and get another look at those excavators in work. I'm not exactly sure what the purpose of that is. My only guess would be that they're getting ready to start pouring concrete for either some new transit-oriented development or a possible second entrance, but we'll have to see in the future what this area turns into. If you know for sure, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious to see what that area is going to end up being. But now we're on the side where all the jackhammering is happening, so we can get a quick look over there as we cross the street. During the episode's date of filming, May 2nd, on a Friday, Detroit Street is closed due to this construction, but as of the video's upload, the street is back open. So we'll have to see what the construction site looks like in the next construction update. And to close off this station, we have the Metro Rapid 720, which runs limited stops along Wilshire Boulevard. The subway line is going to replace this bus. Now, let's get a look at the next stop, Wilshire Fairfax. Welcome to the intersection of Wilshire and Fairfax, where we're here looking at the Wilshire Fairfax D-Line Extension Station. Still part of Phase 1, it's scheduled to open by the end of this year, 2025. This area is also home to several famous museums, including the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures, along with the Peterson Automotive Museum, the La Brea Tar Pits, the Urban Light, and the LA County Museum of Art. So this is going to be a great stop for tourists to exit at. There in the distance, you can see the station's location just east of the Wilshire Fairfax intersection. This is a great location in my opinion, as you can see by this picture. It's located roughly equidistant in between each of the museums. We can also see what Metro has been working on here in the center lane. It's been closed for quite some time, and it turns out they're working on a new curb which has some greenery inside the middle. This is going to really help make the intersection look better, and it's going to make it safer by creating a physical barrier between the two directions of traffic. Now, the infrastructure around the station is going to be one of the most unique, with this wavy pattern being at the entrance side of the Peterson Automotive Museum. Although, let's look at this street lamp right here, which is still the same as it's always been, right on the right-hand side. It's still in that concrete brick right here, and nothing much has been done to it. So it makes me wonder what Metro's actual plan is for this. I'm sure they're just waiting on getting it removed at this point, since the new light is just ahead. Now here is what we're all here for, the station entrance, and let's take a look at what we can see. In general, it's in a similar state as the previous stop, Wilshire La Brea, with most of its external features complete, and you can see the new sidewalk pattern here as well, which is a combination of black, tan, and white squares that form a pattern on the sidewalk. I'm also happy to report that there is a significant amount of construction activity happening here as well, particularly in the back of the station. I wonder if they're going to be concreting the rest of the area, since if you look closely in the back, the floor was all dirt and it was not paved. Something new we can see here is a new electrical panel in the side of the station's entrance. So that's good to know that they've been working on that. And there are crates of supplies here at the top of the station entrance. Now, the escalators aren't completely done just yet, but it looks like they'll be done soon, hopefully, as the station is once again opening by the end of this year, and I hope it opens on time. Hopefully this project will be like the A-Line, which is one of Metro's only projects that is opening on time and under budget. Here are the elevators. We can see that there is new signage updated on the right-hand side of the doors that tell you where you're entering. But the left panel of the left elevator is still shattered for some reason. They're most likely waiting on a special part to replace it with, so that's why it could be taking a while. The street lamps out here are also on, showcasing a working electrical system, and I like how bright they are in particular, so they'll help deter crime and any unusual activities. It'll also help create visibility for people to see the station. Now again in the back, we can see that there isn't too much in terms of concrete and infrastructure, but it looks like they might be working on that. I really hope they do either pave it, or I hope they work on beautifying it with either some kind of new foliage, greenery, or plants like they have done at the LAX Metro Transit Center, which, if you haven't seen the past construction update, there's a lot of great things that happened, so make sure to take a look at it in the description down below. Here is the subway grates that are going to be above the tunnels. This is going to help give fresh air to the subway and allow for that exchange of air. There's a hole right here next to the vent, and I believe this was here last episode as well, but there really isn't much happening around. Now let's go ahead and look towards the left of the station, where we can see there is a part wall on this side. This is likely because there's an office building nearby just beyond that wall. So it'll help reduce noise for the people over there, and in general, speaking of which, Metro has done a really good job at ensuring that people are accommodated during the construction. Later at future stations in the video, you'll even see that they're advertising businesses that are impacted and open during construction. But another thing I love about this is it provides an opportunity to put up and describe what is being built here. And I love how Metro showcases exactly what it is going to be. A brand new subway station and a hopefully clean and safe one. Let's go ahead and see what we can see through the open door of the side of the station located on Ogden Drive. Interestingly enough, though, there is free parking here for a few hours. I'm curious to see if this is going to change with the opening of the station, or if Metro is going to signify that this station has a limited amount of free parking. But I'm not holding my breath on that due to the large amount of museums nearby, which create a huge demand for parking. So I'm sure people who aren't using the train would try to use these spaces. Anyways, are you enjoying this construction update so far? We're going to be taking a look at all the stations throughout this video, so make sure to stay tuned for some new changes, especially on the Phase 3 stations, which include Westwood UCLA and VA Medical Center. Well, we're here now, so let's take a look at what's happening behind the station entrance. For now, we can only see dirt piles and excavators which are working to create those dirt piles. Either way, I think they're either creating maybe some utility pipelines that they can use, or hopefully they're working on beautifying the station area. However, this wouldn't make too much sense, as there wouldn't be any reason for foot traffic behind the station's entrance, since the elevators are located at the front and there really isn't any reason to be behind it. In the distance, you can see a new extension of the LA County Museum of Art, which is that glass windowed bridge that goes across Wilshire Boulevard. This is separate from the Metro extension, but there is a lot of construction also involving the project, so if you're driving through the area or traveling by bus, it's important to note that there is heavy construction both from Metro and the LA County Museum of Art. You can also see the urban light on the right-hand side, and we'll actually go ahead and get a closer look at what some of the tourist attractions are in a second. Again, this is an incredibly great and tourist-friendly place to place a Metro station, so I'm sure the ridership at this station will mostly be tourists, or will have a higher proportion of tourist riders compared to local riders, because of tourist attractions like these, which has a bunch of street lamps from the Art Deco area of Los Angeles. Now let's take a look at the traffic situation here on Wilshire Boulevard. Currently, only one lane is open in either direction, and this has been the case since the last construction update. So do expect some elevated travel times if you're going through the area, but as you saw just right there, it's pretty free-flowing. Feel free to pause the video right here as well if you want to see more information on the history of the urban light created by Chris Burden. Just beyond it is also the entrance to the LA County Museum of Art, which is the building on the right-hand side of the video. There's also some minor construction happening just left of the sidewalk ahead. It looks like they're trying to beautify the sidewalk area, maybe even add some grass like they have on the right-hand side. These would be great improvements to help make this a pleasant area to walk. On this side of the street, you'll also find the entrance for the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures. Let's go ahead and jump to that right now and see how it connects to the street. I do love how the museum's entrance showcases Hollywood Boulevard and the surrounding Hollywood area. On the left-hand side, you'll see another Metro Rapid Bus 720, and they do run in different variants of buses, and they're typically inconsistent, but this is okay as the bus route is likely going to be discontinued soon in favor for the D-line extension. You can also see here at the museum that there are plenty of award spots open here, but they don't have anything on display for now. But here you can also see how close the station is to the museum. It'll just be a quick walk and across the street and you're here. So it'll be a really great way for tourists to access the museum. So with that, I think this is going to be one of the best placed stations on the line, as it's going to serve so many museums that are located so close to each other. I'm sure this station is going to have one of the highest tourist ridership numbers of the system, of the entire metro system. With that, let's go ahead and take a look at the next stop along the line, which is still in phase 1. It's going to be Wilshire La Cienega. Now welcome back to the intersection of Wilshire and La Cienega, where we're taking a look at the Wilshire La Cienega station. This is still part of the phase 1 extension of the D-line, meaning this is going to still open by the end of this year, which is exciting to see. Of course, we already see another Metro Rapid 720 bus. It's one of the most busiest bus routes in North America, running every 7.5 minutes. Now, there's been a lot of changes at this station. We can't actually see the entrance itself anymore due to us being placed further away from the walls there since the sidewalk was taken away. Metro will likely be redoing it with their patterned sidewalk that we saw at the Wilshire Fairfax station. But of course, we can also see that electricity is working with those streetlights on. So that's a good consistency for the first 3 stations, which make up the first phase of the D-line extension. It's also worth noting that we are on a different part of the sidewalk. We're now walking on the street. Previously, we were able to walk on the sidewalk just to the right of us. But it looks like Metro will be working on patterning it for the D-line extension. Now let's get a peek at the station from La Cienega Boulevard. You may have heard me complain in previous construction updates how this is really not a wheelchair accessible area to travel. But it looks like they've worked on it since last time. The ramp is in better condition, and it's a smoother surface for people to travel or roll on. Now here is an uninterrupted first look at the side of the station. Continuing down this way, we'll find a better view above the chain link fence. Let's take a look. Similar to the Wilshire Fairfax station, the station is in a pretty similar state of construction besides the rear part of the station, which is being worked on and excavated. Makes me wonder what they're going to place behind the station entrance. I wouldn't be surprised if they're just going to work on pouring concrete over it though. I'm also curious to see when benches or any other furniture starts to come into the station. I'd imagine they would add that just outside the entrance to create a nice area to meet people and wait for the train, outside of the subway. By the end of this year, this station should be the new terminus of the D-line. And then after the Phase 2 extension opens, in 2026, the new terminus would hopefully be Century City Constellation. We'll be looking at those stations next. But let's take a quick look at the density around the station, and once again, boy is it present. So I'm sure these subway stations won't be short of any ridership, especially with the bus connections. You can connect here to Metro Route 212 that runs along La Cienega Boulevard north and south. Now let's go ahead and head to the next stop along the line, which wasn't featured in last month's episode, so this will be new for us. It's Wilshire Rodeo. Let's go ahead and take a look. Welcome to the Wilshire Rodeo station construction site. Previously, where we started, this entire sidewalk area was closed. but it turns out they are making a nice plaza with a bench surrounding a bush here on the right-hand side. I think this is a great improvement, and I'm glad Metro or the city of Beverly Hills worked on this. Really helps add to the area of Beverly Hills. But now let's go ahead and cross the street and look at the actual construction site where the subway entrance will be. For a sense of location, we're currently walking west on Wilshire Boulevard at the intersection of Wilshire Boulevard and Crescent Drive. There's still quite a lot of construction happening, and the sidewalk up ahead is closed. We're actually going to have to cross the street here and get a look at what we can see from the other side. Spoiler alert, there's definitely a lot of new things happening, so let's go ahead and take a look. This station is a unique partnership between Metro and a rich city like Beverly Hills. Typically, high-income cities such as Beverly Hills are opposed to new transit things like the new subway D-line extension. But it looks like they're incorporating it into the world-famous Rodeo Drive, which, just like the Wilshire Fairfax station, is likely going to attract a lot of tourists. So as a result, the ridership at this station is likely to be proportionally tourism. So it's really important that Metro has great wayfinding and an easy-to-use system, especially at this new D-line extension. This station is scheduled to open as part of Metro's Phase 2 D-line extension, opening in 2026. I do also love how Metro provides a way to find information through posters and images on the fences and construction walls, so locals and businesses can stay up to date about what exactly is being constructed right here on the street. Let's take a look inside, where we can see that this lane is being used to store construction equipment for Tutor Perini, which is the company who was contracted to build Metro's D-line extension, the A-line extension, and the LAX Metro Transit Center. The right lane closure continues into the next intersection past Crescent Drive. It's used for the same purpose here, storing construction vehicles and equipment. You are able to walk behind it though, so the sidewalk remains open. Looking across the street here, we're able to see that there is some more activity here, with construction workers seemingly flattening out a surface over here. Not exactly sure what this would be used for, but from previous trends, I'd assume that this would become a new transit plaza, or just a nice area to hang out here at Beverly Hills. Now, the actual station entrance for the Wilshire Rodeo station is located on this side of the street, one block west of what we just saw. So let's go ahead and head down in that direction. The sidewalk closure here on the right is new as well from the last construction update, and they're using it again to just store some vehicles. But as we get to the end, I do enjoy how they preserve crosswalks here, ensuring that people can walk between businesses and their parking spots. Again, this part of the sidewalk is closed as well, with the same purpose of storing vehicles. So this continues for about 3 full blocks. I'm happy though, as it doesn't impact the sidewalk and it doesn't impact vehicular traffic that much. Anyways, just up ahead, you can see the station entrance for the Wilshire Rodeo station. It's going to be located in this structure, and we can see that there is a crane present that is actively raising and lowering things into the station. Last time we were here, there were so many bus detours on Wilshire Boulevard due to it being fully closed. There's also significant drilling happening in the construction update before that in the month of March. Now let's take a quick look at what we can see through the open door just to the left. I don't want to disturb the construction workers too much here, but we can see in that left-hand corner that there is a ton of scaffolding, likely due to there being a large hole present. They're likely raising and lowering things into that station, especially larger items, potentially like escalators. So I'm looking forward to seeing if we see anything like that in a future construction update, so make sure to stay tuned. Continuing westbound on Wilshire Boulevard, the sidewalk continues to be restricted here to store vehicles. I'm not exactly sure what Metro is currently working on, but if you do, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Hopefully one day we'll be able to get access underground into the stations, but we can only hope for that. But now let's continue our surface level update here by taking a look at the construction site from a little bit farther away. Another important note is that the median isn't closed, so Metro isn't likely going to build new medians here. But it seems like the street's doing okay on its own, and there's plenty of works being done on the sidewalk side of the street, so the area will still be beautified. Now there's a section of the sidewalk closed on the other side of the street, the north side of Wilshire Boulevard. Let's take a look at what they're doing in here. Here actually looks like Metro is by destroying and rebuilding it, so I'm excited to see a new refreshed sidewalk for Wilshire Boulevard, at least near the station right here. I also appreciate how Metro is putting a bunch of Beverly Hills related art, and how Metro is advertising the businesses that remain open during the construction, which can be disruptive. Anyways, across the street there was another look at the actual station entrance area. The station entrance is going to be located a few blocks east of Wilshire Rodeo, as pictured here. The plaza on this side of the street was also renewed with a bunch of new seating and foliage. So it's awesome to see that Beverly Hills is becoming a wonderful place for pedestrians to hang out, especially with the increased pedestrian count that'll result from the opening of the D-Line station. Over here we can see the end of the false wall here that protects the East Metro staging area, where they have construction offices and equipment. I love how they painted a mural on there too, and I wonder if it's going to become a permanent part of the Beverly Hills landscape, but only time will tell. Here's another look inside that construction staging area. Looks like there is construction workers today on this Friday, which is awesome to see at all of the D-Line stations, and we'll continue to see that throughout the video. This station has to be one of the most active recently on the D-Line extension, so it's awesome to see all the new changes that Metro is doing and a good presence of construction workers here on this Friday. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening past Wilshire Rodeo with work on refreshing and beautifying the Wilshire Boulevard corridor that comes through this area. Let's take a look at what Metro and the city of Beverly Hills are doing to make it a pleasant area to drive on and walk on. Let's take a look. For a sense of location, we're currently now just west of the intersection of Wilshire and Rodeo. And remember, the intersection here is just a few blocks west of the actual station entrance. Now let's take a look at what they're doing. It looks like the roadway has been removed, at least in that right lane shoulder area, and they're currently repaving it at the bottom to most likely put a new layer of asphalt or concrete in. It's possible that they could be working on a new bus lane here, but it would be quite overdue, as the busiest bus route here, the Metro Rapid 720, likely won't run as often or could be potentially eliminated as passengers use the D-Line instead. The Metro Local 20 though is likely to remain. Here's that bus stop right here that serves the Wilshire Rodeo area currently, so the subway station is going to be much of an improvement. Now let's take a look at the next stop along the line, Century City Constellation, which is actually the only station along the D-Line that is not located on Wilshire Boulevard. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next stop in Phase 2, Century City Constellation. And we're here in the second downtown of Los Angeles, Century City. Home to a Westfield Mall, several massive hotels, and huge office structures, Century City actually has a low population count compared to other cities, but there's a lot of people that commute in and require transit to the area. So I'm glad to see a subway station is being added here. Looks like some minor work was being done there on the sidewalk with the trees being put in place. But what I'm going to demonstrate to you now is how awful the pedestrian infrastructure is being kept up during the construction of the D-Line and several other projects around it. So if you remember last month's construction update for the D-Line, it was really confusing here whether you would continue straight on the sidewalk or continue right. But there's now a sign in place here that shows you where to go. Another improvement we'll start to see is a new wood ramp structure on the right-hand side that helps make the walkway wheelchair accessible as it should be. This is a big improvement from last construction's update where there wasn't anything like this here. Now it's a lot more easier to walk this walkway and in general easier to use. Although as you'll see in just a second as we get up closer, we're going to run into another problem. There's a truck up there blocking the way for the sidewalk. But overall, on the positive side, it's a great place to put a subway station, as you can see by all the density here and mostly walkable areas on the other side of the street. For a sense of location, the Century City Constellation station entrance, which will be located at the northeast corner of the intersection of Avenue of the Stars and Constellation, as you saw in that picture. As we continue down Avenue of the Stars, you'll notice a problem as we finish the sidewalk detour. Now the sidewalk is actually completely blocked by this truck, and you're unable to pass in any way without jaywalking. With such a big street as well, and no crosswalks for quite a while, you'd have to turn all the way back towards Santa Monica Boulevard. Now, this is really bad, especially if you're in a wheelchair or you're unable to walk long distances. So I turned around, took about a 3 or 4 minute walk to the bridge that we saw in the beginning of the video, and now I'm climbing up it to cross the street. This has got to be one of the most roundabout ways I've taken to find the station entrance, but we'll get there. This does offer a great view of the Century City area though, so it's awesome to take in. There's a lot of greenery, and you can see the infrastructure of the modern skyscrapers here. But in the distance, you can see the intersection where the subway entrance will be. This is the northeast corner of Constellation and Avenue of the Stars. This is where the subway entrance will be, not to be confused with some other construction projects happening related to the nearby skyscrapers. Now we finished crossing the bridge, and now we're heading back downstairs to the sidewalk. We're now on the other side, where we're going to go ahead and cross the street to take a look at the station entrance. Here's a look at the station entrance from here. We can see that there's a crane already in place and construction workers actively raising and lowering things into the station. As a reminder, this is part of the Metro D-Line Extension's Phase 2, meaning it'll open by the end of 2026 if Metro continues an on-time project. The intersection of Avenue of the Stars and Constellation is just ahead, serving as the center of Century City. So this is a great place for the subway station to be. This is also the place of several major hotels, such as the Fairmont, which was the building we saw on the right. The sidewalk on the other side of the street is open, so we're going to get a really good close look at the construction site. You'll also see in the distance several other skyscrapers undergoing construction, particularly at the base level near the metro stop. I'm unsure if their construction is related to stabilization as a result of the metro subway. If you do know, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I do love hearing from you guys and your opinions on the project. It's also worth noting that there are several construction workers walking about and inside the construction site. I'm sure there's also dozens of workers underground working at the platform and track level. We can see a lot of those people crossing here. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic, so at least this part of the sidewalk is open. Here's a closer look at one of those skyscraper elevators as well, taking construction workers up to the top. It was just there on the upper left-hand side of the screen. But now here's a look at what we can see. Unlike the VA Medical Center, we're unable to see all the way down to the bottom, but you can see quite a bit of the subway tunnel. This is also the station box area, where the station will be located. It's currently really messy, as you can see, but there's a lot of heavy construction going on, and hopefully this station will open up on time, along with the Phase 1 extension. That's truly what's going to set the tone of the project. Let's go ahead and get another angle over here, looking north from Constellation Boulevard. So unfortunately, there isn't too much to see there besides a huge mass of wooden beams and walkways. Here's a final look at the Century City downtown area, which will soon all be served by a convenient subway connection to downtown LA and westbound to UCLA. With that, let's head back towards Santa Monica Boulevard to debrief about the station, and also check out another feature that's going to be accessible by the station, which is the Westfield Century City Mall. But now about the station's construction and the sidewalk around it in particular. Metro needs to do a lot more to improve their signage and walkway detours, as someone who's new to the area is going to have a really hard time walking through the area, especially through the construction zone. So hopefully Metro does a better job at improving it, as they've at least improved the detour from last video. So there has been progress, and I'm hopeful that Metro is going to do better. It is worth noting though that it may not be Metro's fault, as there is skyscraper construction happening here that may be unrelated to the D-line extension. Anyways though, it's important that sidewalk signage is in place or walkways are clear. You can see here that that crane is actively being moved around too, as part of the skyscraper's updates or construction. But in the end, all of this construction and pain will be worth it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next stop along the line, which is going to be Westwood UCLA, serving the Westwood area and one of the best UCs, UCLA. Let's go ahead and take a look. Welcome to the future Westwood UCLA D-line station. This is now part of the Phase 3 extension of the D-line, which is the last of the 3. This line is going to be completed up to Westwood UCLA and the VA Medical Center in 2027, in time for the Olympics in the summer of 2028. We're starting today from Wilshire Boulevard, specifically the southern end of it, so let's take a look at what we can see on the station walls. You can see that they're advertising the Westwood UCLA station, which is an amazing feature, so that way everyone driving by is able to see what is being worked on. There's also a line map here which shows the stations along the line and where you're currently at. This is going to be the second stop from the end of the line, on the western end. Continuing with the theme of active crane construction, this continues over here at Westwood UCLA, as that crane is actively lifting and lowering things into the station. This could be things like electrical equipment and other construction supplies that they would need for constructing the platform down below. As we'll see at the next stop at VA Medical Center, the platform isn't done at these Phase 3 stations, so I'm sure that's what they're working on. In the distance, you can see the intersection of Wilshire and Veteran, where the main entrance is going to be. This is also a connection point for several bus routes, including Culver City Bus, Big Blue Bus, and the LA Metro Rapid 720 that we looked about earlier. Here there's also a map of the actual UCLA campus, which is an amazing touch on a temporary construction wall. So it's really cool that Metro is paying homage to the areas that they're using space to construct in. This is continuous throughout the stations. As you remember at Beverly Hills stop, they were advertising the businesses that were open during construction in order to lessen its impacts. Now we're here at the busy intersection of Wilshire and Veteran. There are the several bus routes that serve the area. This is also where the Metro 20 terminates during the day. This is also where half of the Metro Rapid 720 buses terminate as well. So if you're riding the bus anywhere west of this area, make sure to double check the bus that you're on to ensure that it goes all the way to Santa Monica. Crossing the street, we're able to see a transit agency not featured yet on the channel, and that's Bruin Bus. You can see one of those yellow-blue buses on the left-hand side. It's the transit agency for UCLA. If you want to see more of those buses on the channel, make sure to like the video and let me know in the comments down below. You can also see two big blue buses in the distance. This is the transit agency for the city of Santa Monica. Anyways, let's take a look at what we can see through this open construction door. It's pretty similar from last time, but this time there's some activity. There's excavators, cranes, and all sorts of vehicles that are in use at the moment. But in general, the construction site is still just a flat piece of land that is used for storing construction equipment and supplies. Although I am happy with the activity here, as I'm sure it's going to result in some great progress done on the project. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the westernmost stop along the line at the end of the 9.1 mile extension, which is going to be at the VA Medical Center. Let's go ahead and take a look at that station, which, here's a fun fact, it has to have the biggest station land area compared to any of the other ones. Welcome to the VA Medical Center here in Los Angeles. This is a specialized hospital that dedicates its service to veterans. There's already some new stuff out here with some future artwork being displayed here at the off-ramp from Wilshire Boulevard. In this section, Wilshire Boulevard acts as a freeway with off-ramps like this one here that connect to Bonsall Avenue. Although convenient for car drivers, this causes problems for transit riders, particularly on the bus. We'll take a look at that towards the end of the video. But first of all, Metro has put some new artwork up here and stuff describing what they're doing. I love it how Metro's doing this, as it's making known that there's going to be a new fast transit route coming to the area that people can use. The actual station entrance is going to be located on the other side of this bridge here, located conveniently close to the VA Medical Center. But looking inside, we're able to see that they are redoing the wall of the bridge, most likely working on putting a new mural up, which I'm really looking forward to see. Maybe that future artwork sign was for the mural there and not the station, but either way, I love how Metro and the city here are working on art. Speaking of art and murals, there are tons of flags of American colonies and, of course, military branches, which is really awesome to see, since these are the people who make up America and who have defended it while risking their lives. It's interesting to see a forklift come through here anyways as well. I actually don't think it's part of Metro's construction project, but it's cool to see a bunch of activity buzzing around the area. Here's a look at some more of the artwork. Anyways, this stop sign here signifies that we're at the station's entrance, which is just to our left. This is also conveniently located directly in front of the VA Medical Center, which is the white building in the back. The right-hand side also has a walled-off area, which is used for construction. There's also a big blue bus stop right here at the VA Medical Center, hospital, and right in front of the construction site. This serves only Route 17. All other big blue buses run on Wilshire Boulevard, so you'd have to go up onto the bridge to board. Let's take our first look, but we can't see too much here, and it stays with the theme of the Westwood UCLA station, where it's pretty bare with only construction supplies and equipment being stored. But as we take a look over here, that's going to change drastically, as you'll be able to see a huge gap in the ground that showcases where the platform level is going to be. Let's take a look. It's a little hard to see from there as it's blocked by those wood fences, but we'll get a better look over here in just a second. This is super cool to see, and I'm super grateful that it's still open air. You're able to see all the activity happening downstairs in the subway station. Looks like they're busy down there working on raising and lowering things to start the construction of the platform and general station area. Now let's go ahead and take a look through this open gate to see what we can look at. Here, you can really only see the construction supplies that they have here, but this is likely where the forklifts could enter and exit. So that was probably actually part of the construction project. Now let's go ahead and cross the street and look at what we can see. Here we can see that is a lot more obstructed view of the platform level, but it's a view nonetheless. And you can see all of the support structures that are holding the ground together during the construction process. Here's another look down below. The platform level isn't really located down there. It's more so on the previous area we were at, on the right-hand side of the street. But in general, I'm super excited to see the project open, and I can't wait to see more progress as we go. Make sure to stay tuned for the next construction update next month in the month of June. I want to thank you for watching today's construction update, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Hopefully you've gotten an insight to what the construction's like. Thanks for watching, and have an awesome rest of your day or night.